Be in the back. I don't have to worry about that.
And here we go. We're live on Sideline Sports another Tuesday. Jake, I don't know what he was talking about. Malik on the line. John Shear.
That's who I was talking about.
Showing up unannounced.
No, you act like you don't know he's here. He's producing in the back for us. I think he just wants to come on and say hi.
Dave DeRocher eating his tacos. Got a busy Tuesday night here in sports. Yeah. Denzel's gone.
He was just coming to wave and say hi. You act like you didn't see that coming. I mean, come on. Okay. What is this? Is it amateur hour?
Always blessed we have Denzel here.
You know what we didn't see coming was OBJ to the Ravens.
Oh, hold on. Before we talk about that, because John, I do want to talk about it. Dave, what kind of tacos? This is the important question. We talked about this yesterday.
We start tacos. Tacos lead off.
Always got to know.
Tonight's machaca. Machaca burrito. It's a spicy shredded beef.
Oh, nice. What do you got in there? What are the toppings?
It's a crunchy shell, so I might have to mute while I finish this last one. I usually have the soft shells, so I'm not crunching it in my microphone. My professional podcast setup that I have here.
Oh yeah.
Hey, it's professional. It's something.
Yeah.
It's got a fuzzy thing on it, and it's all fancy.
The fuzzy thing on it. I know what you're talking about.
Now I need to get one of them their headphones.
That's the next step.
Well, I tried those, and I plugged them in, and I couldn't hear nothing. And then I'm like, well, I can hear just fine without them. I don't know why I need these things. Everyone wears them, and it just confused me. So
it just looks good. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
I'm not a fan of that.
It looks like I know what I'm doing. I don't know how good it looks.
That's what I'm saying. No. And I hear you in my ears, as opposed to picking up on the mic. It's nice. I don't know.
Well, I have a loud voice. You guys could probably hear me even if I wasn't mic'd at all. Just sitting here yelling at
that you. Is correct. That is 100% correct.
Yeah.
All right. So, John, you want to talk about OBJ to the Ravens? Let's start it up. Let's go.
Sure.
Because that's what I was thinking. I'm with you.
Yeah. Obviously, he has to be thinking that Lamar is going to sign because there has to be something that we don't know. Like, they have to know that Lamar's staying, right? I mean, you're not paying him $18 million.
I would think, yeah.
$1 million base salary, like $14 million signing bonus, and then $3 million incentives.
So $15 million guaranteed. Yeah.
$3 million in incentives, unless you know that you're getting Lamar, or this is just a way to try and entice Lamar to stay. It's the only thing I can think of, but to me, I mean, this makes him a little more interested, even if they keep Lamar, but I don't think it puts him above the Bengals. I don't think it makes them any
They still finish
better, but not much better because, I mean, think about it. Odell Beckham's had multiple torn ACLs. He's been injured a lot in his career. He's 30 years old, and we haven't seen him play in over a year. Seen elite Odell since the New York Giants.
Oh God.
That was the last time we saw that version of Odell. So, and I'm sure like everybody keeps hoping that we see at Odell again, but it's not happening. You hit 30 years old, you've had torn ACLs. Like that's not coming.
It's not great.
Back.
Well, I love the leading question. Why do you think Odell would go to the Ravens? Because they gave him a paycheck.
Not only because they gave him a paycheck.
That cat just wants to get $1 million and some incentives. Hey, I'm showing up. He doesn't care who the quarterback is.
Dave, they didn't just give him a paycheck
for a minute. So
they gave him a $15 million guaranteed paycheck, which is
insane,
way above his value.
I think that's $15 million more than anybody else was going to give him.
You look around the league, right, and you think about what is OBJ like actually valued at, and I think Allen Lazard is like a fair comparison for now. Like, good receiver. He's a player that, they're both players that like they could make a difference, and they'll be solid receivers on their respective teams. But Lazard has proven himself, especially if Rodgers does come to New York, which Joe Douglas seems to really think he's coming. That makes sense, but OBJ is 30 years old and making almost as much as Lazard could be making. I think his total guaranteed over 4 years is like 20, 22 million, 21 million, something like that. So
doesn't matter. He's an okay.
Yeah, but my point is he gets that much over 4 years And he's been a solid receiver, with the right quarterback. And OBJ hasn't played in multiple years. And John, you said it best. We haven't seen prime OBJ in what feels like forever.
Yep.
And he got nearly the same amount of money for 1 year.
It's absurd.
It's to
totally
pull Lamar.
absurd.
I know that is.
Well, what's funny is that he was here in L.A. I didn't even know he was here in L.A. And everyone goes, I hope they re-sign him. I'm like, did he play?
Oh, really?
Did he?
A handful of games. Yeah.
2 touchdowns in 13. I don't know. They're all jacked up about, oh my gosh, we got to re-sign him. I'm like, oh, why? So anyhow.
It's just a name at this point. That's really all it is. It's a name.
Yeah. I also think he got that money because I think his camp leveraged that. They kept leveraging using the Jets, the Cowboys, all these teams against each other to leverage it. And I think that the only team that showed any interest was actually the Ravens. I don't think anybody else really wanted him.
I think other teams,
like a small deal, like $4 million.
I think other teams would have been like, hey, we'll give you a small deal where like your base salary is $3-4 million, like you said, and your incentives could put you up to 10 to 12 million, maybe, if you play and score touchdowns and get yards and all those incentives. But I think his market was a lot lower. I think it's not just his camp. I think it was partially the fact that Lamar hasn't definitively said, like, hey, I'm coming back. They're really desperate to go, what can we do that might want to make Lamar come back? Let's give him what Lamar would think is a good receiver to have. And OBJ is not bad, but Lamar probably is valuing it a little bit higher than, let's say, a Patrick Mahomes. Right. But I'm saying if Patrick Mahomes got OBJ, he'd be like, oh, cool, that's nice. But he doesn't feel the need to, like, he's like, oh my God, I need him. Lamar is like, this is really good for me. This is a guy I can rely on. So it's a little different on how he feels, I think. But I think that's what it comes down to is they said, screw it. We need to try and keep Lamar somehow. And if for whatever reason, it doesn't work out.
There's a way to keep Lamar.
He has OBJ.
There's a way to keep Lamar. You can pay him. And then you keep him.
I don't disagree.
You pay bad money to OBJ. You can go to the draft, which has a bunch of good receivers to get some.
So instead of paying Lamar his money, you
paid a 30-year-old receiver.
Don't get me wrong. I love Roquan Smith. I think he's a really good linebacker.
Yeah.
But you gave him the richest contract for a linebacker in the history of the game. As soon as you traded for him, boom, you gave him a brand new deal, the richest deal for a linebacker in the history of the game.
Yep.
But you didn't resign Lamar. You went and gave OBJ $18 million, but you still
$15 million guarantee.
Lamar.
Or no, it was
You're shelling out all this money when you could have put that into Lamar, like JB said, and been done with it by now. Instead of paying Roquan like the biggest contract in the history of the NFL for a linebacker, you could have said, make sure we get Lamar Jackson taken care of before anything. But you're playing games, and that's why you're in this position. So I don't know. The Ravens have nobody to blame but themselves.
I think the thing that probably bothers me the most is Lamar has proven to be a winner, and he hasn't been perfectly healthy, but last season things happen, whatever. But when he plays, Lamar is really good, and the team wins a lot. So to me, it sounds like, okay, it would make sense. We should keep our guy around. He does a pretty good job. Instead, they signed a guy for a considerable chunk of change for somebody who hasn't played in over a year, hasn't, as John, again, you alluded to, hasn't been his best form in years. And they were like, he's not a former MVP. He's not a proven winner at, arguably the most important position in all of football. But let's sign him for a lot of money because that makes sense. It's just one of those moves that just screams desperation.
Yeah, the Ravens front office to me is just in disarray. Their moves are questionable. You're signing guys that are just a name. You give a Roquan all that money,
and Roquan's great. But
you got to take care of your franchise quarterback before anything.
Yeah.
But who wins games for you in the NFL? Linemen and quarterbacks.
Yep.
They're the key. Running backs last 3 years, they get replaced. If you have a really good running back, maybe they last longer, but 3 years is the average running back life.
It's pretty unfortunate. They don't last long,
Wide receivers last a little bit longer, but as they get older, they're not as good as they were when they were explosive in their early 20s.
Yep.
defensive backs, same kind of thing as receivers.
They're somewhat replaceable too in a way. Not everybody, but they also kind of have a short. I feel like a short period. Like look at Jalen Ramsey, right? He's not what he was 3-4 years ago. He has a big window, and then you fall off a little bit.
What position do you see guys in their late 30s doing really well? Quarterback.
Yeah.
Not guys that run as often as
you're right. Well, look,
Lamar, but and you guys ever talk about? I mean, I like this kid. I like Marcus Williams. He's a nice kid. They signed him to a 5-year, $70 million deal as a safety.
Yeah. It's a lot of money.
That's premier money. He's a good safety, but I don't know where he's ranked. But they're spending money on positions that they don't need to spend, and then it binds them on. Yep. I don't see him making the smartest moves.
No, and you talk about like safeties, defensive backs, right? The best guys are going to get you a couple interceptions on a season. Like the elite players are getting what 5, 6, maybe 7 interceptions on a given season.
Which is quite a bit.
Right, but my point is when you break it down per game, it's like they get an interception every 2-3 games, maybe. Which again, I know football, that's great. Don't get me wrong, but in terms of impact play, it's not a lot per game. As opposed to we talk about quarterback, right? They make impact plays if you're really good every single game. It's just crazy.
One of the knocks on the Ravens, though, is giving up the big play. They gave up a ton of big plays. Their DBs were a mess.
And there's no question. But in this league, especially in that division, they could easily finish 4th, even with Lamar, because if Kenny Pickett becomes, or continues to be as great as he is, he's got a chance to be a great quarterback. He was great last season.
No, it wasn't great.
You
and
I watched 2 different quarterbacks, I guess.
He was great with what he had to work with.
Thank you. Exactly.
Name one other player on that team other than the running back. Right?
I mean, you do know Kenny Pickett threw more interceptions than touchdowns, right?
Well, that's his last name, Pickett.
He threw 9 picks and 7 touchdowns. Not that he wasn't impressive as a rookie, showed some moxie,
but he showed a lot of
points. But he wasn't great. Let's not call him that.
John, he was a great quarterback for what he had down the stretch. You and I watched different quarterbacks, I guess.
Like I said, name a receiver.
Anyway, not the point. The point being that he's got really good potential, and that team could go in the right direction, especially with the direction. Point proven of Mike Tomlin at the helm. Always a chance.
Defense.
Yep. Of course. The Bengals speak for themselves. Don't need to talk about that. And then the Browns could be really good if Deshaun Watson can return to form, which we'll see. But the point being that even with Lamar, if everything goes right for other teams in that division, they're fighting for 3rd, maybe 2nd if they're lucky, but potentially even falling down to 4. Without Lamar, they're going to forget it. They're not even going to touch it. It's not like the NFC South where you could put almost anybody out there at quarterback and they got a chance at first place. So the Ravens, I get, don't want to give it the big play, Dave. You're right. I get it. But without the quarterback, I don't really care who you have.
You're still going nowhere. You're paying all that money to everybody else.
Yeah, but they need the quarterback, especially in the division that they're in. And the AFC as a whole.
The AFC in general is
loaded.
A gauntlet.
Yeah. It's a great time to be an NFC fan.
Speaking of quarterbacks, what's going on? Are the Jets ever going to pull the trigger on the Rodgers trade? What's holding that up?
I don't know what's holding it up, but I assume that if Lamar gets traded and Rodgers get traded, I assume it's going to be draft night. That's normally how this happens. Is if you don't see it in free agency, it normally happens day 1 of the draft is when you see these type of deals.
No, I'll tell you what's happening. Probably is the Jets don't want to give up a first because they're not sure how much they're going to get out of Aaron Rodgers, and I think there's also concerns about hey, he doesn't come to OTAs and do those sorts of things, and they probably kind of want him there as a new quarterback. I can understand that, but also. The Packers are going, well, he's got multiple MVPs and he's really great. And we want at least a first. And so it's just an argument of who's going to budge and give the other person what they want. Eventually it's going to happen, I'm sure.
The longer it waits to happen, something bad can happen if you're the Jets. You really have no other moves at this point.
But I think the Packers are also in a bit of a tough spot because I don't think they want Rodgers.
Have all the leverage.
Yeah, they have the player.
Do they though?
Because they're already moving on, Jake. They've already moved on to Love, so they just have a guy sitting there that's
not good though.
Or
but
guess what? You can ride the bench because
But
you're not a
that's
certain
John.
QB
The problem is because they have to pay him a ridiculous amount of money, so they want to get rid of that cap hit. Absolutely, you can pretend like
big deal, but
they want
they
to get.
hold the cards in this situation. The Jets are the
I
desperate
don't
ones
disagree, but
that
you're
have
acting
to
like
have this deal.
I understand that, but you're acting like the Packers are in such a great position. It does suck that because they have to start Jordan Love, but if Aaron Rodgers stays, I don't know that they would, because how can you honestly justify starting Aaron Rodgers or Jordan Love over Aaron Rodgers?
You can't. There's no
Exactly.
way.
The future,
And so-
you got to begin
but
your future
it doesn't-
eventually.
Right, eventually, but that's the problem. If you have Aaron Rodgers or Jordan Love, I think we'd all agree you can't justify starting Jordan Love realistically and say you want to win. That's just not like you can't make that argument. But the problem is Jordan Love's on his last year of the contract, so you got to start him, and you have to
see what he has.
Exactly, is he worth? Because you can't re-sign him and say, "Oh, well, we're just going to give him money," and not know what he is still. At least with the Giants, they're a good example, right? They paid Daniel Jones, but at least they saw something that they said we can hold on to this and say, like, this is why we gave him money. Packers have nothing with Jordan Love. They're in a tough spot. I agree they have better leverage.
Oh, yeah.
But it's a bad position for both teams. The Jets need a quarterback, and the Packers are like, please take Rodgers from us. Just give us like the compensation that we feel is just. And it's a rock and a hard place. Somebody's gonna budge eventually. It's just about who. And John, I think you hit it on the head. It'll be draft day probably. That's
normally that's how this works.
It'll probably be that. Yeah.
Dave, you look like you want to say something. You look
he's thinking about those tacos.
I don't. I'm just so over the Jets and any quarterback, and I'm over Aaron Rodgers always playing again. I'm ready for the next topic.
It's just no. I agree though. It's frustrating. It's like who cares?
I tell you this. This is what Aaron Rodgers just loves this stuff. He just loves stern. He just does. That's why he goes and eats peyote.
Yep.
I mean, he just wants people to say, and then he just wants to wear his weird, man-do and these creepy commercials where he looks kind of like a girl. I don't know what he's doing, but because he don't care,
No, he doesn't care.
I'm a multi-millionaire and I'm really good.
He loves this. This is like
I think so.
This makes him so happy because he's. I don't want to say that. I don't want to say that he's a little self-centered because I don't know the guy personally, but his outward appearance feels that way.
His persona looks like he's self-centered.
Yes, that is, I think,
the person on in the game of football. Obviously, Dave, you had mentioned before, like, he plays with the kids and does the charity work and stuff like that. Like, he's a good person.
I've seen him.
Of the game.
Yeah, I've met him and seen him in person and how he acts in person when the cameras aren't on him, and it is a different deal. And I equate it to like the boss. Brian Bosworth, the dude, was so much different than the boss. And it's like when the cameras were rolling, he played it, and that's how he made his money. Yeah. And then when he could be the boss, he rode around on his freaking Vespa scooter, and he just didn't care. He's just a good dude, So, and you kind of have to believe that a little bit, that he just panders to the media, he just gives them what they want, give them something to talk about, and then laughs all the way to the bank. And just
Dave, why do guys do that then? Why aren't they just themselves, like you said, off the field, off the cameras? Why?
But part of it could be ego, because he can, but then you meet a guy, and I've been fortunate to meet guys like Russell Wilson, who are just dudes, Christian dudes, family dudes, everyone's had their little thing, and, I know he got remarried, whatever, but at heart, he's just a good, solid, just person.
Right.
And that's, and you see what you see on TV is what you get, Steve Largent was that way, it just, and he just went about his career, and he wasn't the talk of anything.
He was just a dude.
But but Aaron, you turn on anything, and Aaron Rodgers is there, man. And
he's just
So, like I said, I think part of it is, you know what? Yeah, I'll give him something to talk about. When they peyote. Well, who knows if he even did or not?
I don't even know what peyote is. I don't even know what it is.
John, just
don't worry about it.
Go try some. You'll find out.
Yeah, don't.
You'll be better off not knowing.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. You might be enlightened.
Oh, God, I don't know. There's a lot of things I want in this life. John enlightened. I don't think I need to see. I'm afraid enlightened John might be a shirtless
already a
John.
Deep thinker as is. I don't need any.
Do we have any more NFL topics?
No. The NFL is Just waiting for the draft. We'll just
all right. So I'll give you guys the
That's-
choice. We could go baseball because there's some really cool stuff happening, or we could go NBA. Rudy Gobert with the fight.
You don't even want to say his
Cliff
name
McHenry.
right. You want to just make fun of him.
Gobert.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go Bear.
He's
Okay.
Gobert.
I know you know how to say it, so I'm just pointing out that you.
Does he?
Being have a French last name and JB never pronounces my last name right either.
That's a fair point. Fair.
So I just
You know
I let JB be JB. Nobody gets my last name right. It didn't surprise me when Gobber came out.
And that wasn't him just doing it on purpose. That was him just messing it up because he didn't know how to actually say it.
I gave you the benefit of the doubt, but you're probably right.
Listen, Rudy Gobert. Okay.
There you go.
And it's DeRoche.
DeRoche. There we
Or
go.
DeRocher.
Like Ferrero Rocher. It's not hard.
I know.
It's very simple.
Yes. I'll get it right eventually.
No,
We've
you
only been doing this
No,
for
you
like how many weeks?
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
I keep showing up, whatever.
So we could do that, or we could talk MLB because there's some cool stuff in MLB.
No, it's you messed up the poor guy's name. We got to talk about him now.
You got to talk about him.
so
Denzel.
If you have the audacity to call him,
looks like a baguette. That's fair.
or as JB might call that, a bag wet.
So I mean, you're getting to the playoffs. You're a game before the play-in game, and you get into a fight with your teammate who's ripping on you, and you guys are going back and forth. You throw a punch at him.
Yep.
I mean, that's not acceptable at any level. I get that teams fight. I have no problem with that, but someone's got to step in between and break that up. I mean, Dave, you're in the locker room, in the NFL where people are hitting each other all day. Basketball isn't that type of sport. So, I mean,
really? I don't know about that.
Wait, there's no testosterone in basketball?
That's a bit different. In the NFL, you try to knock somebody's block off. In basketball, you get fouls. You can't really touch. Especially
did you ever watch the Detroit Pistons play back in the?
That was basketball. It's basketball. We're not talking about that anymore.
I hear you.
But what? Like, how do you prevent that from happening in the locker room? And how do you repair that? I mean, now you're going to play in a play-in game this week. That's so bad.
Yeah, it is. But I tell you, adrenaline, testosterone, and emotion. It's a tough combination to contain sometimes. And I've been on a basketball court a lot of times. I've done pickup games that had guys run to their car to get a gun. I mean, it just gets that way, and some dudes are just that way. And I share when I go and talk to kids about what I learned in sports, and it's about that teamwork. Because when I was at San Diego State, the guard I played next to, we just did not like each other. We would actually throw blows during practice. We're playing alongside each other, not against each other.
Yeah.
But come Saturday night, I mean, we were a unit. We were cohesive.
Yeah.
We had to be, because if we weren't, one of us was going to be sitting. And so, but practice is just a time where it's just different, and other things come into play. I don't know what was going on there, but I will tell you, when you get to that level, and then the personalities get into play, to me, I'm not all that surprised. I'm not all that surprised. I've just seen it.
No, I there was a tweet that was sent that I just loved this, because when Draymond Green got into the fight with Jordan Poole back in October, Rudy Gobert had the audacity, and I say audacity, and you'll see why in a minute, to say insecurity is always loud. And I was like, all right, whatever, you're just getting involved in things that don't pertain to you, but whatever, that's what you do. And then Draymond Green, being the awesome dude that he is, and I just love everything he does at this point, because he doesn't care. He responds to what happened in this fight and responds with, insecurity is always loud. And I love it, because it's so funny how everything comes full circle.
Yes.
But he's right. He's right. You know what? Rudy Gobert has always, been known to be a little bit of we'll call him a difficult teammate. Things obviously did not work out in Utah for a reason, and that's part of why he was traded. I always think back to, when he had COVID, and obviously he didn't know it yet, but he touched all the mics and thought he was being a funny guy and ended up having COVID, which was very dangerous because somebody else could have gotten sick. He's not somebody that really doesn't seem to think ahead a lot. And this is one of those things that, Dave, everything you said, I don't disagree with. I also think he's just a bit of a hothead and a guy doesn't really think sometimes and just does stupid things like this.
Yeah.
I mean, the night before he said, that he wasn't upset with, how hard he was being pushed by his teammates. It was a good thing. And then the next night he's throwing punches. So I mean,
it's like, which one is it?
Consistency in the statement.
No.
Oh yeah, push me harder. It's okay. And then all of a sudden, I'm going to throw a punch at you.
Yeah, it just, just a mess.
Oh, it's pretty bad.
Instead of like saying they're fighting, he was like, "Oh hey, I'm going to throw a punch at you, and I'm going to run away and let everybody else get in the middle of us. And I'm going to act tough. Like that's not tough. Like that's soft.
That's toddler stuff.
That's pretending to be tough. Like this guy he can't play offense. He had issues with his teammates in Utah. There's a reason they got rid of him. Then the Timberwolves, who I thought last year they could have beat Memphis. I was thinking, well, they only didn't win that series, blew all them leads because they're inexperienced. They're going to be better this year, and they could contend and get to the finals. Like, that's how talented they are. Then they get Rudy Gobert, and guess what? They get worse. How are you a worse team when you add a guy?
I'll tell you how.
Rudy Gobert.
Because Rudy Gobert is more than that.
Defensive player of the year. You add him and you get worse. I have no idea how you do that.
And then on top of that, Jaden McDaniels punched the wall.
Oh, don't even. I was going to say, can we talk about the fact that he's not the only idiot on the team?
So, I mean, you're not just talking about Gobert, who's an idiot. You got, this kid who's punching walls. And
that was just so
now
stupid.
He's out. At
least Gobert could come back for a play-in game or a playoff.
Well, they
game,
didn't even. He's suspended for the play-in game. Like, hey, we don't want you. Bye-bye.
Depending on what happens. I mean, I'm saying he could be back for a playoff game. We'll see what happens. But I'm just saying.
That leads us into our
Wait. Now, see, you guys give me a flashback, and it could be he just wanted to make the papers like me, because the last day of two-a-days in Seattle, my rookie season, one-on-ones. I'm going against Tony Hill, the best rush guy. One-on-one, block him fine. Chuck Knox is down watching. Chuck never comes and watches one-on-one. Goes again. All right. So, Tony's a proven dude, right? He's a little irritated.
Yeah.
We go again. And he beats me that time, and Chuck goes again. Well, now Tony's pissed, So we go again. And I'm a little tuckered, and we battle. And I don't know what the result was. And Chuck goes again. Tony's gassed. I'm gassed. He's really pissed. And I don't know if it was the fourth or fifth time that I just tackle him. Just because, whatever. Just tackle him. And we both get up throwing blows. And we're throwing blows, and I'd look over my shoulder, and every offensive lineman had grabbed a defensive lineman, and we're just all throwing blows.
Oh, my God.
Next
day, sports, DeRocher breaks camp and brawl. So
nice.
I made the paper. So maybe Rudy was feeling a little unloved and, just needed a little attention.
Yeah, because he's gonna be really loved now that he attacked his teammate.
Yeah,
former defensive player of the year.
It's not always a bad thing,
John, look, he's former defensive player of the year, but not everybody can be as great as Draymond Green because it's got to come back to him. He's a former defensive player of the year, if I'm not mistaken, and he is pretty awesome, and he gets the last laugh in all this.
Speaking of awesome, we have Raphael waiting on us.
One more quick topic before we get into Raphael. This will end basketball.
Go ahead.
So, speaking of team chemistry, Dallas got the curse of Kyrie.
Oh, no. Save that for after. Because I don't want to make Raphael wait. Let's tease that. We'll come back to that because I had some thoughts on that.
Uh-oh. Jake's got thoughts.
It's going to be a long topic.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a topic to discuss further. So let's tease that. Go to Raphael. We don't want to make our man wait.
That's a good tease.
Yeah.
All right.
You can make me wait. The Cubs had just come back to take the lead against Seattle, so I can stay on hold as long as you want.
Perfect time.
I love it.
You know what? It's all good because the Yankees already won, and Miami's getting absolutely smacked right now.
Nope, they're down by 7 right now.
Are they really?
Yeah, watch your mouth. Third place in the Metro Division in hockey. Third place in Metro Division hockey. Watch your mouth. Can't even get in second in the division.
John, it's all good because we're going to beat you when we play you.
Enjoy
and
being.
more importantly, my
talk.
basketball team didn't have to go to the play-in.
You don't even watch basketball.
That's not true. I watch a little bit.
Hey, Raphael's on. Let's talk about odds. Hey, Raphael. So how big of an emphasis does the draft have on odds of teams making a Super Bowl?
Zero.
Okay, you don't see a shift at all?
No.
No.
Unless you see a trade in the NFL draft,
like last year with AJ Brown.
AJ Brown, right? Yeah.
No one. His didn't even. His. I was just gonna say, if a quarterback, let's for some odd reason, the Jets become the Jets and they can't do anything, and let's see the 49ers trade to get Aaron Rodgers on draft night and just a whole bunch of draft picks, then you start seeing odds change.
But that would be great.
There's no running back, there's no defensive guy, there's no one's gonna adjust odds to win the Super Bowl on draft. Now we lose every NFL draft. We haven't won an NFL. Our philosophy when it comes to NFL draft, we call it NFL customer service. Because everyone kills us. I think we've lost like maybe 6 or 7 straight NFL draft odds.
Really?
But we still put them. We still put them up because I always say, okay, it's NFL customer service. Let them win these draft plays, and then we'll just get them all on preseason week 1. And
it's just money to be lost later.
You'll get JB back on, when the games actually count.
Yeah, I don't know why. I mean, it's the NFL draft is kind of weird when it comes to betting because I know everyone does their mock drafts and stuff like that, but I think if you listen to the right people, and look at them how they predict their picks year after year, a lot of them are really, really correct. Like I don't think CJ Stroud is going number 1. I don't, and you can get plus money.
Bryce.
On Bryce right now. And I can guarantee we have a lot of wise guy action on Bryce, but everyone's still saying CJ's the man, which I'm hearing he's not. So we'll probably lose on the first quarterback.
Bryce is more polished. He will definitely be going first.
So, but it's customer service for you sports gamblers out there. NFL draft, enjoy it.
I don't know. We're gonna all pull in and give Raphael $1,000 and say, make us money on this customer service. That sounds good. Just go with it.
Sounds like a nice idea.
So you're chipping in $999,
and we'll each chip in like 30 cents to make the rest.
John's a rich guy.
Yeah, I have kids, so definitely not.
I have no kids, so.
Well, JB, you are the only one here that I think could afford to do that. So you'll put in $9.99.
Yeah, you're retiring in a month. You could definitely
pull together.
Do that.
We'll pull together like $1. That's fine. I
don't bet sports.
Right?
I'm with you. I played enough sports to know that I don't bet sports.
I don't bet, period.
I do the boxes.
Everybody does that.
Give me some random stuff that gives me time to think about. Man,
that doesn't count.
You start making me choose between grass and turf and this and that, and oh my gosh,
too much.
I'll analyze myself into a quandary and I lose.
Try doing multiple sports and then entertainment and politics and wrestling and Russian table tennis.
That's why you're one of the best in the
world. You had something up on Instagram today. What was it? It was somebody to date one of the Kardashians.
Drake, because Drake dropped a song and mentioned Kim Kardashian. So of course I had to put odds on that.
Nice.
I go on Instagram sometimes, I'll just pass by the stories and I see yours, and yours always never it always makes me laugh. It never fails to be somewhat ridiculous in the best way. Like that was, I had to double take. I go, what the heck was that? So I go back and I look and I was like, yes, that makes sense. That was Raphael.
I just put up HBO Hard Knock odds right now.
Yeah, Raphael, I got to share something with you. Before I actually met you, because I guess we announced I was going to do this show, and we follow each other on Instagram or something. You put up odds on Guardians of the Galaxy, and I go, who's this freaking nut? And I blocked you. I blocked you because I thought maybe you're gonna start pitching me, Bitcoin or something next. Like who's put odds on Guardians of the Galaxy? So we had to befriend each other.
That's such a great little story.
That is funny.
That's great.
But it's funny. I get that all the time. Like, I thought this was a joke. I don't want to follow some guy like this. And then I'm like, wait a minute, you can actually bet this and stuff like that. And people
it's the name says you can bet that. Yeah, you think it was that? It was pretty obvious.
Yep. Now we can be friends.
That's the coyote.
Stop, John.
It's an interesting lifestyle of being an odds maker.
All right, so Mr. Oddsmaker himself. What do you got for us? What are the best bets this week? Give me something.
I'm gonna throw into the NBA playoffs, and we put up odds for the NBA Finals MVP.
Okay.
So I think we can all admit, and I know there's some guy in LA that people think he's the greatest. He's one of the greatest players, LeBron.
Yeah.
But anytime Kevin Durant is healthy and on the court, he is the greatest scorer. And I'm the biggest Michael Jordan fan ever, but he is the greatest scorer that's ever played this game. And if he stays healthy, and his Phoenix Suns can stay healthy, and if you could just get to the NBA Finals and you could get Kevin Durant right now 7-1 to be NBA Finals MVP.
What's Steph's odds? Just curious.
10-1.
Wow. So it's funny because when you said, MVP, those are the first two guys. I admittedly would have picked Durant first, but I think one of those two is your Finals MVP.
I would say Steph Curry at 10-1 is getting great odds, but we don't know how Wiggins is coming back.
You're right. That's why I would pick Durant.
Absolutely. He's probably the biggest question mark. Just like everyone thinks, I heard you guys with Rudy, with Gobert being sweat. He's not the question mark for tonight's game. It was the dumbass that punched the wall who guards LeBron James.
They were both stupid.
His hand.
He's the best one-on-one defender against LeBron.
The problem is Rudy Gobert being out also gives AD a free matchup, basically, because Gobert probably would have been taking on AD at that point. And AD, if you shut him down, this team is not as good. You know, he's kind of led the team a little bit with LeBron's injury, you know, while LeBron was out. So you basically just said to the Lakers, by the way, your two best players can go do more or less whatever they'd like to go do now because our best defender is not going to be on LeBron. And a guy that could certainly cover AD and take care of him is also not going to be playing.
That's why if I was JB, I would log on right now because the Laker game's not started yet. And bet Austin Reeves, just a white guy that the Lakers have. The rookie, Austin Reeves, total rebounds, points, and assists, 23
I would say assists, definitely.
Because let's say the Lakers blow out. Every blowout the Lakers have had, Austin Reeves is still playing in the fourth quarter. Because let's face it, they need him to have more experience. He's an upcoming rookie for them. So if it's a blowout, he's still gonna be out there putting points up, getting rebounds, assists, 23.5. His last 6 games, 5 of them have gone over that total, 23.5. Log on right now.
JB.
So, Raphael,
he's giving you good advice.
Some baseball stuff. Tampa Bay and Jordan Walker, both 10 for 10. Walker's got hits in 10 straight games, broke Ted Williams' record for most hits.
You can make that 11-0 because Tampa Bay is winning 7-1 in the ninth. So
yeah, they're about to be 11. Walker's 0 for 1 right now. He didn't do anything his first at bat.
Did you bet him? Did you bet him to get a hit?
No.
Okay, I just had to ask.
I would have pushed the guy.
Okay.
He's got a great streak going. I'll pull it for him.
Okay.
You know, but I mean, what are the odds? You know, of something like that happening? You know,
I think for the Rays, for Williams, that the rookie is probably greater odds, and we'll start working on that if he gets a hit for the weekend because you always get more action.
How long will it go?
Stuff and all that. And you said the names he surpassed, and it hates me. They're going to have to do the research because I'm a Cubs fan and I have to do research for a Cardinals guy. But it sucks. Tampa Bay, if you look at the teams they beat. None of them made the playoffs last year. I mean, Boston Red Sox are projected to be second to last in the division. So let's wait till they go on the road when they have to play the Yankees, the Blue Jays, and stuff like that before we start blowing horns. Because the last two guys,
their schedule's been abysmal.
Yeah,
it's still impressive to win all those games, but you're beating teams you're supposed to beat.
But I think it was 37,000 to 1 for this rookie to have a 10-game hit streak.
Wow.
Last time I was.
Hey, somebody could be very rich out there right now if they somehow bet that.
I don't know. I have an autographed card of his, so I hope he keeps going.
Hold on to it. It might become valuable one day.
He's a Cardinals. He's a Cardinal, so hopefully we'll probably trade someone for he'll be a Yankee pretty soon or somebody.
Yeah, that sounds nice.
Now we're talking. I wouldn't mind.
I was gonna say I wouldn't mind him being on the Yankees.
No.
Keep up the hitting. Let's go.
No. So
absolutely.
Now, what are the odds going back to NFL MVP? What about NFL NBA playoff finals MVP? What about Embiid or Tatum?
Tatum's 4 plus 450. The Greek Freak is the favorite at plus 290, which no one talks about him. I feel bad. I mean, I know he plays for the Bucks, small market team, but he should be getting a lot.
Awesome. He's awesome.
12-1. The Sixers always falter in the playoffs.
Yeah.
The bearded one's always MIA in the playoffs, so you can't really count on him. I feel bad for Embiid, but like I said, I would think the Greek Freak, even though he's plus 290, I've seen some places have 3-1. I think it's good odds because I think they come out of the East. So if you get that ticket at plus money, maybe hedge off it if you get to the NBA Finals.
I'm sticking with KD, though. I'm with you. I think.
Yeah, I think Phoenix got the right guy from the Nets.
They sure did. And that is a good little secondary tease, JB. Very clever. Very clever.
Just so you know, Rafi, I'm not sure if you're paying attention to the Orioles game, but right now, Mountcastle for us is up. He has 5 RBIs and he has the bases loaded. So he has a chance at 9 RBIs right now. If he hits a grand slam, he'll get to 9 RBIs, which is crazy.
Not going to happen.
And the score is 8-7. So how bad you're pitching?
Right he just hit a grand slam. He has 9 RBIs.
No, he does not.
Yes, he did. It's 12-7.
If he hit a grand slam, that's 4 RBIs.
He really
9.
did.
He's
That's
at
not
9.
a joke. No, he's not kidding. He really did hit a grand slam. I thought John was messing with me.
He's at 9 RBIs.
Wow, good for him. Well, I mean, you're beating Oakland 12-7. I'm not.
No, but 9.
Impressed.
I mean, when do we ever see that many RBIs by one guy in a game?
We're gonna see it this year with the shift.
That's pretty impressive.
You're gonna see the batting average is up, even though strikeouts for pitchers is up as well. But we're seeing more hits.
456 feet for that grand slam. Holy,
that's pretty good. Yeah, you'll still finish probably in
did
second
anyone
or third.
see Kalenic shot last night in the ninth?
Who?
Jared Kalenic on Seattle.
Yes.
Did you pronounce his name right?
Yes, I did.
It's not.
He was trying really hard.
John Shira.
Jake Molick.
Oh, that's a new one. Thanks.
I mean, he ripped that ball.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. That was probably one of the nicest home runs I've seen.
Yeah, well.
So, Raphael, back to the important odds. Hey, what are the odds that John Dutton dies in Yellowstone this season?
I'm working on Yellowstone odds this weekend, so it's funny how you said that because I am working on some Yellowstone stuff.
We can revisit that next week.
Coming out. Yeah.
I'm going to visit my sister and her husband, and they're big Yellowstone fans.
So. You know, it'd be interesting too. So all my buddies on the Mayans. So Emilio Rivera, Michael Irby, Joseph Lucera, Frankie Loyal. They were all at my. Frankie didn't make it because he rides a Harley everywhere. They were all at my tournament. I've gotten to know them really well. I know it's the final season.
Yep, final season.
I wonder which of, if any of them live. That's what I was wondering.
I'm going to put up odds, and I'm going to put Jax make an appearance at the last episode.
How can he? A ghost?
You know what? I'm hearing some very, very funny stuff that we could see a reboot of SOA.
Well, you know, I was thinking about that because there's been
they really only showed him in a motorcycle with his hands open.
Well, there's there's been a lot of pictures of him and Emilio recently. So get to be pretty good friends with Emilio, and they've been doing a lot of stuff together.
There's a very clear rule in TV and cinema: if you don't see them die on screen, it doesn't guarantee they're actually dead. Yep. You have to physically see them get killed in order to be confident that they're gone. Well, a perfect example is Emperor Palpatine. I hate the new Star Wars movies, but somehow he was alive because he never died on screen. We never saw it. So technically they could make it happen that, he's still alive.
Every soap opera has had 2 or 3 people that have died and come back like 3 times.
Of course.
I'm glad I don't have to do soap opera odds.
No.
Yeah.
We don't get all my children odds.
No. But I will keep an eye out for Yellowstone and Mayans and stuff like that. I'm a big fan of Mayans. I thought SOA was one of the best TV written shows ever made.
Yeah.
Even if you don't like Harleys or motorcycles, I just thought the TV writing was phenomenal.
Well, I'll tell you though, but what's been neat is those guys I named off are just good dudes. The 3 of the 4 are in recovery. They do stuff for veterans.
Nice.
So the persona you see on TV, they're drinking, they're all sober, and they're just good people that want to support veterans and support people in the community. And that's what's better, I think.
That's
awesome. I mean, there's so many just cruddy people out there, especially in Hollywood, But these are good, solid dudes, man. They just love community.
That's great. But it should be interesting. I saw a couple of your pictures and I'm like, oh wow, those are some of the guys from TV actors. So I was actually kind of it's so funny when I get to hear you talk about veterans, because my twin brother that lives in St. Louis does a lot of stuff for veterans, building homes. So Gary Sinise is one of his partners.
Oh, good, because Gary's gonna be at our tournament next year. He said he couldn't make it this year, but we're gonna try and get the Lieutenant Dan band out for our tournament for next year. So you have to come out with JB. We'll get the whole crew out next year.
I'll bring my brother out there because he does great work out there for St. Louis. He builds home for veterans and stuff like that.
Then let's connect me with him now so we can start talking now.
Okay.
Because it's as big as it was, as great as it was. It's gonna be exponentially better this coming year. It's gonna be a blast. And I want to start working on it now.
Yeah, his Gary Sinise's company actually tried to hire him because he worked for Home Depot for 30 plus years and he left and he's now worked for another company, but they wanted to come work for him, but I guess they couldn't figure out. But he's still going to do work for them, building homes and all that. But
love it. All right, well, Raphael, we appreciate you coming on, but we do have another topic, gentlemen, we need to talk about.
Yes.
So, Raphael, tell people where they can find you.
You can find me over on Twitter at VSI.Sports. You can find me on Instagram at Raphael Esparza. You can find me over at DocSports.com and you can bet that.com. And Kyrie Irving is minus 250 for him to be a Dallas Maverick next year. So they can offer him pretty much almost the most money. And the Lakers pretty much, I've heard, already told Kyrie's camp that they are not taking him. So I do see Kyrie being back in Mavericks.
Yikes. Well,
poor Luka.
We can talk about that at a later date. Raphael, thank
poor
you very
Luka.
much.
Take it easy, guys.
All right, buddy.
Have a good one.
Yeah, Raphael. Maybe Luka should play defense.
Yeah, that was what I was getting at. So, John, I'll let you start this topic because I know you want to talk about it.
What topic do you want to get into?
The one we teased.
Oh, you want to get into this?
Yeah, that's the last topic for the day.
This is embarrassing. I mean, you go, and I don't blame Kyrie for them falling apart from like when they traded for him because he's actually played really well. But I said when they made this trade, I said this is not going to work out because you have Luka who has to have the ball.
Yep.
He cannot play off the ball. He can't play, where he's moving.
I wonder who just made that and put that up. I can't imagine who might have done that.
Must be the producer.
He can't play when he doesn't have the ball. He doesn't move very well. He doesn't do much.
Yep.
Kyrie's the same way. When he doesn't have the ball, he doesn't want to be involved. So you have two guys that have to have the ball in their hands in order to be involved in the offense in the way they play their game.
Yep.
That doesn't work. Two guys are identical. They're just a waste of space on the floor
they're ball
it's like,
dominant.
hey, I'm going to ISO. Well, you, Luka, go stand over there. Hey, Kyrie, you stand over there. I'm going to ISO.
Yeah,
it doesn't
work.
work.
So why would you trade for a guy that doesn't help your team?
I'll tell you
honestly,
why.
I didn't understand it then, and I don't understand it now.
Because Mark Cuban said we made the Western Conference Finals last year. This is a great team. Why don't we add another star? And this will be great. It's going to work out so well. And obviously, he was wrong. I think that's really what it was. I think he wants to get back. He wants to win again, and he thought it would work. And I don't know why he would think it would work because John, you kind of said it perfectly. They're both guys that don't do anything when they don't have the ball. They just kind of stand around and go, "Oh, what's going on? What's happening right now?" That's kind of what they do. They like stare up into the ceiling and have no idea what's happening.
And Kyrie's a pretty good defender.
It's terrible.
But Luka doesn't play a lick of defense.
Kyrie's a pretty good defender.
He's a pretty good defender.
Defense.
Like he can steal the ball.
He doesn't play defense.
He can steal the ball. He can swipe it from you.
I don't know who you watch. He doesn't play defense.
He can swipe it from you just like anybody else. Like he's pretty good at that. But Luka doesn't make any attempt. Like Luka makes no.
He's worse.
It's like, hey, I want to go.
Neither of them do, and that's the problem. You got two guys who need the ball to do anything. Well, you have two guys that need the ball to do literally anything. And then when it comes to defense, again, same thing. When they don't have the ball, they do that. When they don't, when it's on defense, they just look around. What's going on? They have no idea what's happening. They're just completely in like la-la land. And it's terrible. I don't know what they expected to happen.
They traded away some of their depth, too, in that trade. So, like, you gave up a lot of depth and made yourself paper thin basically everything you were doing, like the Nets. It was like when the Nets had Kyrie and KD, it was like, hey, we have no depth, and we're going to rely on you guys, and that's it. We live and die by you, and we have nothing else. You can't survive that way in sports.
It's dumb, but look, I guess when they saw the opportunity for a star, they said, we got to take it. And I don't know.
Doesn't always work. Win some, we lose some.
No.
What's a couple $100 million? Yeah.
Not only did they lose, they tanked. They were.
Yeah. What they go 3 and something to end the year?
They were terrible.
Well, they sat all their guys. The game that was going to eliminate them, they're like, yeah, we're going to sit everybody, against Chicago.
It was stupid.
Because we want to protect. We want to protect our top 10 draft pick.
Of course they are.
That's what they did, was protect their. Because if
their
they
pick
won
at
that
that point.
game,
their lottery,
the Knicks would have got the pick. If they
Which
lost that game, then they got to keep their pick, and so they decided to say, screw the playoffs.
JB, you said they're investigating it. I got an odd feeling the Knicks are getting that pick back because because the truth is there's no way that you can justify them saying to sit their stars. Like, knowledge, they just sat them so the Knicks didn't get the pick and they kept it for themselves. It was John, you said it, they try to protect themselves. That's it. That's all it was. And they know that. So, they'll be likely in trouble for that. The NBA, is trying to crack down on, on the load management stuff as well. They made the awards. I think it was a 65 game minimum. Yeah. So they're trying to improve the play of the league. So this will be bad for them, whatever. But I don't know. To me, I also look at a guy like Jalen Brunson, who looks really good with the Knicks, and I'm just lucky he's on my team. But objectively, he really does look really like he's flourishing.
Yeah. The Mavericks are dumb for letting him go.
But you know what? But he didn't flourish like that with the Mavs as much, at least.
He did in the playoffs.
But he didn't show his full potential yet.
Right.
Well, it's kind of hard when you have somebody on the team that needs the ball most of the game.
And that was what I was going to say. That's the issue I think the Mavs are going to have. And I was curious what your thoughts were. This is, yes, partially, Kyrie being a ball dominant player, but Luka is also. Am I crazy to say that Luka is just not a great teammate? Like, he just needs the ball, which makes him a little bit of a less than stellar teammate.
Well, it depends on the team because everybody has a role. I mean,
yeah.
No, but I agree. I mean, like it's hard to. Think about this, JB. Like if you're a baseball player and you bat once every 3 days, it's hard to get going. Like if that's your rhythm, like in basketball, if you only shoot,
if you're getting the shot,
game,
or if you're getting the ball with like 3 seconds on the shot clock, it's not that easy to get good shots. That's what Luka does. He'll hold the ball for like, but so you're going to tell me he's a good teammate? I think that's terrible teammate.
Yeah, I don't.
Listen, you're the coach. You set up the offense. If you don't like it, you talk to him and you try and change it. But he's a superstar. It's not going to be just, okay, Luka, change your game. It's not just going to happen. The NBA likes Luka doing what Luka does. They don't really care much about that he. Well,
they want him to win. They want him to win, I would think.
I don't think it matters.
I think it does.
And Jake, by the way, I don't know I guess Mark Cuban was full of himself thinking that Western Conference Finals appearance last year was great. That was a fluke. Like, let's just call it what it is. Like, it was a fluke. You beat the Suns in a series you shouldn't have won, but you won.
Agreed.
You won. It was a fluke run. Like the Hawks did the same thing a couple years ago where they got to the Eastern Conference Finals, lost to the Bucks.
Yep.
It was a fluke run. What happened to them since then? They've fallen apart. They fired their.
They might be trading Trae Young now.
They might be trading Trae Young. Just because you make one run in the playoffs does not mean that you're a dynasty. Does not mean you're a great team. Maybe you just got hot. Like the Giants. I mean, at 2007, they got hot. They beat the Patriots.
Did it twice, actually.
They did it twice. They weren't a great team any of those other years.
No, they were barely making the playoffs.
Right, but that doesn't make it a fluke, though.
No, but this.
Why are you bagging on the Giants, bro? Why is that? Why is that with John Paul?
Because
I'm thinking of
John
teams.
has to take many years before there was a Super Bowl.
I'm thinking
Miami.
of teams that had a hot run, and then the years around that, like the years that was sandwiched in between that championship,
Were
what
okay.
did they do? They
They
did
were
nothing.
okay. The Giants were okay with after
they were. Yeah,
they weren't like complete garbage.
That's what I'm saying. It's not like the Mavs were complete garbage. It's just they had one.
At the end, they were.
And they got their ass
complete garbage
in the Western Conference Finals, and and Mark Cuban schooled himself.
Well, we'll see what happens.
John, you don't know what you're talking about.
No,
Go
not
watch
at all.
Miami.
Not
Watch
at
Miami.
All right. On that note, let's wrap things up. Dave, where can they find you? I know you're just Dave, but
just Dave.
Yeah,
it's right there.
Can you spell? Can you pronounce that? Because I know JB can't say it.
Well, okay. So if you're gonna Americanize it and butcher it, you drop the S's and it's DeRocher. But if it's not Leo DeRocher, but it sounds like it, right? So then
if you're JB, it's DeRoche.
It's DeRoche. It's DeRoche. Of the Rocks, not on the Rocks. Of the Rocks. Yeah,
okay,
yeah. So, anyways, just Dave.
John.
Yeah, Fox Sports 1340 AM. You can find me on there writing articles about the O's. Obviously, Sideline Sports, the best place in the entire world. Bluehawks 13 on Twitter, and anywhere Sideline Sports is, that's where I am because this is my home.
JB.
Confidential, 9 o'clock Central tomorrow. We got a lot to talk about. And JB_the program on Twitter.
You guys can find me on Twitter at Jake_Malik. And you can find me on all the places you see scrolling across the bottom of your screen. That's where Sideline Sports is. And on that note, everybody have a good one, and we'll see you next time.